All right, lads, welcome back to Ben Does FM. And in this video, we are talking all about recruitment focuses. Recruitment in Football Manager is, in my opinion, the single most important thing you can get right in your club. Not only does it help transform a club from a mid-table side into a European challenger or a European challenger into a title challenger, getting the short, medium and long-term success around recruitment is vitally important. You need to beat those big clubs to those wonder kids, but more importantly, if you're trying to build a team for the here and now, you need to be able to see all the players that are available to you. Getting your recruitment focuses correct, as I said, is a key part to recruitment as a whole. So in this video, we're going to give you a recruitment focuses guide on how to set things up. So then, fellas, as I mentioned in the introduction, this video is all around recruitment focuses. I'm going to give you a little guide, a little run through on specific recruitment focuses that I recommend you have set up in your FM26 saves, looking at how you create the recruitment focuses, looking at specific roles perhaps for tactics that you have, and generally just talking around the importance of having recruitment focuses set up. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel. It will mean a hell of a lot. We are on our road to 500 subs. We want to get up and over that goal and then into the thousands as quickly as possible. I'm also going to put a link in the description down below to the Passion4FM Recruitment Focuses blog. Once you've watched this video, once you've read the blog, you are going to be an absolute genius on recruitment focuses. So go and check out the blog. Watch the end of this video and you'll have your recruitment focuses down to a T. So what we're going to do, fellas, initially is to show you where recruitment focuses lie. If you are new to Football Manager or Football Manager 26, then you may not know where they are and where they sit. So I'm just going to show that for you now. So you'll be in your portal, your home screen, click onto recruitment and we go into recruitment focuses. Now, depending on how you have your staff delegated, if you're anything like me, I will delegate the scouting to my chief scout. So, very important that you have a good chief scout first and foremost, but I will have and leave them to set up sort of base recruitment focuses. But what we're going to do in this video is go through and basically clear all of these out, and I will show you how to create recruitment focuses from scratch and what focuses I recommend you to create and the reasons behind those. But here is where you find your recruitment focuses. As I said, you should have a list of recruitment focuses already set up. Now, as you can see from the badge, I am of course AC Milan. The amount of recruitment focuses that are set up will depend on your scouting team and the size of your scouting team. So if you are at the lower end of the football scale and you're managing, say, in the National League or League 2, then you'll probably only have a couple of scouts. You will only then have a couple of recruitment focuses set up because, of course, your scouts can't do too much work. I'm, of course, AC Milan. We have got a huge team of scouts. I'll just show you the size of it to give you a bit of an idea. Look, we've got 20 scouts. I've still got a couple of spots there that I actually need to fill. But we've got 20 scouts and recruitment analysts that are available to us to focus on the recruitment focuses. So when you go into this, I always recommend just having a look at what is set up. Now, I've actually been doing a little mini-series on AC Milan. So this isn't a sort of a main save of mine. That's why these aren't created as such, and I've done that for a reason because I'm going to talk you through how to do it now. So as you can see here, they've got a list of recruitment focuses that are in progress and the ones that have been completed. So you've got the ones down here that have been completed and you can still click in, have a look at the players that they've obviously found based on the recruitment focuses that have been previously set up. So little tip, if you've got something like Europe set up, you don't need France. So the reason for that is unless you're doing a Europe, say, under 21 search, which this looks like it probably is, you don't need to then be going and searching on specific nations if the parameters and the settings that you've created in the recruitment focus is exactly the same. Because if you've got Europe set up, say for a 3-star, you will find players in France, of course, because it's in Europe, who are a 3-star, 3-star. So you don't need to set it up twice. This, of course, looks like it is an under 21 search, so it is slightly different. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to clear all of these out just for the sake of the video, and we are going to go through and start to create different recruitment focuses for you and just show you what they will look like. So what we're going to do here, fellas, is I'm going to talk to you about recruitment focuses that I would set up in every save and at every level, and they will tick different boxes, as I said in the intro. So some will be for the here and now, and some will have a view to further down the line. So your wonder kids, your under 21 players, that sort of thing. So 2 recruitment focuses I absolutely insist on you creating, and this is for any club that you are managing, is around free agents. Again, if you've watched any of my videos, you will know how much I love free agents, the importance that I place on free agents in building your saves. And I mean that from every level again, whether you're in the lower leagues and you're wheeling and dealing, or if you're at the top end in the Premier League, free agents can really just add free money essentially into your club. Now, I will set up 2 versions of this. I will, of course, do a free agent recruitment focus, so players that are available right now. When you are in this screen, when you're creating your new focus, again, this is where you can get a bit more specific. So you can, of course, look at whether you want to look at positions, whether you want just anyone in a certain area, whether you want to do it in or out of possession is, of importance in FM26. Whether you want to relate it to a certain tactics, you might have multiple tactics that you've got set up in your save. But here is where you start to create exactly what you are looking for. But what I'm going to show you is just setting up the free agent recruitment focus at the moment. So I will always leave this on any position because I just want to get a feel of everyone who is available to me on a free transfer. Obviously, when you tick that box, all of this goes away because you are just looking at everyone available. So yeah, I'm going to click on any position. Now, I will just, of course, name this recruitment focus free. The naming of it is, of course, entirely up to you, whatever you want to do. So I will do 2 versions of a free transfer depending on the size of my club. If I'm at a lower league or a lower club, I will probably do 1.5 star to 3 stars. Now, the reason why I do the 1.5 stars is you might get your 18-year-olds that have perhaps been released by the big clubs in certain nations or certain leagues. They might be at a lower level, but they might have some potential that can grow into a first-team player. But I will set up a 1.5 star, 3 star potential ability free transfer focus. Now, this is the key bit. You go into further details, add your conditions, contract status, and you want to click down on unattached. Cancel that for a sec. So that will now have anyone who is obviously unattached and on a free. You can leave it on expired, and you will get players that are playing at clubs that are on expired contracts. It's self-explanatory. So I'll leave it on that for the time being. So we're going to leave that on free. We're going to go back to the main details. I always leave this recruitment focus on ongoing. Now, it does move it down to a low priority in terms of your recruitment focuses. So again, if you are a smaller team and you don't have a massive recruitment function to be able to access, just be wary of that. You might need to move it to top. So for example, what I mean by that is if you are a League 2 side, you've only got 2 scouts and 2 recruitment analysts, but you absolutely need free transfers in a summer transfer window, just change that and move it to top, and they will focus on free transfers for you. So just something to be wary of. I always leave it as ongoing, again, because you'll constantly get players that have been released throughout the seasons. So that is your priority. Again, if you want to, you can assign scouts. It's not something that I really touch unless I am doing it for a specific nation or region. And I'll give you an example of that later on. But here we just have you assigning your scouts. If you want to, you can of course go and click who you want. You can take that off. You can show the list here by your judging ability, judging potential. They will give you here your world knowledge as well, which you actually can't see all of, which is a bit frustrating. And it will also tell you here who they are, well, what focuses they are currently assigned to. These are all, of course, on 0 because we've got rid of them all. So, again, if you want to, you can go in there and click on certain scouts that you want to go and find or focus on said recruitment focus. So we'll just leave that on any scouts for the time being. Same thing with your analysts. So you can do the same thing. Here, you've got obviously your age between. Again, self-explanatory. I'll do these more specific details in a second, but we are just setting up a free transfer one at the moment. And again, scouting areas. This will be dependent on your scouting range and what you've got in your budget as well. So again, if you are a lower league side, you'll probably only have regional areas, maybe UK and Ireland if you're managing in the UK, obviously, or the nation that you're managing in other for other teams. So if you want to get really detailed, you can of course go through this, but again, I'm just going to show you one of the focuses that I always set up, and this is for free transfers. So I will get this confirmed, and my scouts and analysts now will start to go away and look at some free transfers. Let's just have a look at this player who's come up straight away, because he's an A-. He's a 15-year-old. He's wanted by pretty much all the top clubs here in Italy. So he is someone you potentially want to sign. You can of course do your usual thing, go and try and sign him, add him to a short list, whatever you want to do. But already we've got someone that has come up in our free transfer search. Now you've also got players here that will come up in nearly matched. Again, self-explanatory. So if you have got a certain search set up for ability and they don't quite match that, they will obviously come up in your nearly matched. And of course, again, when the scouts start to find players and they're scouting them, they'll come up in progress, self-explanatory. So that is the free transfer one. And now we're going to go into more specific searches around positions, age ranges, all those sorts of things for you. And we will go into those recruitment focuses. Right, so we've got our free transfer one set up, fellas. What we are going to do now is I'm just going to show you again, like I mentioned, sort of the base ones that I always have set up in my saves, depending on who I manage. So you have your free transfer one set up. Another key one for me is looking at players that are going to be out of contract. So I will do an expiry of 1 year. And 2 reasons. With this, you get a view of players who are obviously potentially going to be out of contract in a year's time. You might be able to sign them on a free transfer. But secondly, normally their value starts to drop. Well, it does start to drop given the fact they're not on, or they don't have many years left on their contracts. So you can sometimes start to sign these players on a bit of a bargain price, or a price that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get them on, would they, to have 3 years, for example, on their deal. So I will do an expiry of 1 year recruitment focus as well. Here I'll probably do 3-star, 3-star. So you are getting players that are ready to come into the team and be good enough to play for your side. Again, I will move this to ongoing. So you're constantly getting these players into this recruitment focus, starting to build up a bit of a knowledge base of who potentially is going to be out of contract in a year's time. Or if you want to sign them now because you've seen that their fee, for example, isn't particularly high or it's well below market value, then you can obviously start to sign those players. Again, we're going to go into further details. We're going to add a condition, contract status, and we're, of course, going to go expiring 1 year. So that is going to pull all those players for us that are going to be out of contract in a year. For this one, just to show you guys, we are going to go with a focus of a scouted area. I'm just going to go into Europe, and I'm going to go, in fact, I'm just going to go with a continent. I'm just going to go Europe. So these players here, and we'll just put that on the recruitment recruitment focus name, so we know this is going to focus on players who are out of contract within a year who are based in Europe. Again, just a little tip, or something that the reason why I would do that is I'm, of course, AC Milan. If you sign non-European players in Italy, you've only got a certain amount of slots. So you're starting to build up a picture now of who you want to sign, why you want to sign them, and where they fit in. So that is the second recruitment focus I always have. Again, depending on the level of team, I might just have expiry of 1 year if I'm a lower league side. But if I want to get a bit more in depth or a bit more focused in the recruitment focus, then I will go with the scouting areas. So expiry of 1 year, I will also have set up. What we're going to look at now, fellas, is the fun stuff, the new gens, the wonder kids, the ones we all like to find in Football Manager. So again, we're going to look to create a new wonder kid or under 21 focus for the club. Again, important that if you want to match your club objectives, that you do things like this and have a look at how you want to create. Say if you need to sign under 23 players, maybe you do your searching on under 23s. But again, here we are just going to focus on something that I set up in every save of mine. So I'll go create new focus, as we've done before. I will just call this under 23, self-explanatory, fellas. Here is the important bit. Again, I will go 1.5 star and I will go 4.5 star because sometimes you will just pick up a GM or two that is potentially a late developer. Not all the time, but it can happen. So I'll go 1.5 star to 4.5 stars. Again, I want to get as many players into this recruitment focus as possible. It's over to you to have a look at whether you think they're going to be good enough. You want to get a bit of an idea from your scouts about their potential ability, but just get as many players into this pool as you possibly can. So we're going to call this one under 23. We're, of course, here going to change this to under 23. Further details, just make sure nothing is ticked there. We're going to leave that on. Again, change it to ongoing. Now, here's again where you might want to get a bit more specific. Because we're looking at players with potential, we might want to assign scouts now that have the best potential ability. So, in this instance, I'd probably go Vito Lucchesi, Jim Lawler, and Marcus Pilawa. So, I will assign those 3 scouts because they've got elite judging potential as the scouts that I want to focus on the under 23 recruitment focus for us. Self-explanatory, right? Again, scouting area. Do you want to focus on South America, for example? We all know that they farm wonder kids. They always have done in Football Manager. So, just if you do that, just maybe have a look at the scouts you've got assigned. I don't think any of these have got any scouting knowledge of South America, but just good to have a look. We will just have a look now. So look, he's Marcus Pilawa, mainly Europe. Jim Lawler, mainly, well, pretty much Europe. Vito Lucchesi, Europe. So again, maybe not the best scouts to be sending to South America, but you get my point. Just check once you've selected the certain areas. Maybe we'll just remove that for the sake of this search, and we will do Europe because it makes sense to send these guys to the areas that they know and that they have got good scouting knowledge of. So again, under 23s, really important to start to build the long-term success of the club. You want to be trying to beat the big clubs to the wonder kids at that particular time. So keep that search nice and broad, or get really specific if you want to start looking at areas or particular nations. And again, assigning it back to scouts that are the most relevant and have the best scouting knowledge to that particular area. And as you can see already, fellas, we have got a nice pool of players that those scouts are already aware of that are under 23 and are based in Europe. So already for this save, we have got a nice list here. Let's just have a look at Diallo, shall we? 18-year-old playing for Denda, so someone that would definitely be able to sign for AC Milan. But again, you get my point. We've already got a nice list here of players that are potentially good enough for us here at AC Milan. So get that set up, then start to look at other things. What we're going to look at now, chaps, is recruitment focuses based on specific player roles and positions. Again, this is going to be quite self-explanatory, but I will just talk you through it. So we're going to want to create a new focus. Again, this is going to be key for whether you know you're going to be short in a particular area. So tying this back in now to your squad planner, for example, you're starting to build a picture of what your needs are when you first join a club, what they're potentially going to be in the next summer, so your next transfer window. You're going to start to build up your areas of weakness or where you want to potentially strengthen. So for this example, we're going to look for a centre forward. Again, this is the thing that's changed slightly in FM26. We know we've got in and out of possession tactics, right? So you can, of course, you want someone who's going to play centre forward in possession, but you want them to drop into attacking midfield out of possession. However specific, again, you want to get there is entirely up to you. Now here we're going to be looking at your roles, your in possession roles. How do you play? Do you want a centre forward that is a channel forward? That is how I play. And then again here you're going to choose your role proficiency. So do you want them to be very good in that? Do you want them just to be good? Again, self-explanatory, fellas. Here though is what is really good for FM26. You can actually find a player that has similar attributes to a player in your team. So again, if you know you're losing someone who doesn't want to sign a new contract with your club, they've already signed a deal somewhere else, they want to be sold, whatever it might be, you're losing a player, but they are a good player for your club, you can select them in this list here and say, I want a similar player to Nico Paz in my team. And you can now, again, start to build a player base of players that have similar attributes to Nico Paz because they suit the way you play. You know that they fit in well with your tactical style, again, whatever it may be. You might not have a lot of time for this. So, for example, you might have lost someone close towards the end of the window. So move that as a top priority. We are, of course, going to call this Recruitment Focus centre forward channel. Yeah, we'll call it centre forward and channel. So we know there that it's a centre forward that wants to play in the channel forward position. Self-explanatory before, fellas. So just change your minimum current ability here. Again, you might want to look at someone who is a little bit more of a longer-term prospect for you. You want someone who's got similar stats to Nico Paz, but isn't quite the ability at the moment. Play around with it, do what you need to do. But in this focus, it is more specific to a certain position. Just for the sake of the video, I'm going to go 3-star, 3-star, and I'm going to say I don't want anyone over the age of 28. And I'm going to confirm that, get that set up, and now we have got a centre forward search who is going to be similar to Nico Paz for us in the channel forward role. So again, we have now starting to build up our recruitment focuses. We've got a free transfer one. So for the here and now, we've got a list of players that are out of contract in a year's time. Look at that, Beraldo, £3 million. So he's up for transfer, but he might be up for transfer because he's out of contract in a year's time. So again, this is actually closer. Look, he's out of contract in a month. But if you want to beat someone to his signing, he is a very good player. If you've got a little bit of money to spend, chucking £3 million down on him before he hits the free agency market could be a good idea. You could beat them. You could beat the signing of him. I don't know what my words are now. You could get him in before other clubs want to sign him. So, yeah, a little tip there as well. If you want to chuck some money down, if you've got a bigger budget than maybe some other clubs, worth chucking £3 million down because you know you want to sign him. Beat him before he goes out to be a free agent. We've got our under-23 search there, and then we've just got our channel forward that is a top priority for our scouts. So we have now got a bit of a picture of the certain recruitment focuses that I would recommend you setting up in your FM26 save. So then, fellas, that is the end of this recruitment focus video. As I said in the intro, I just wanted to give you a bit more of a deeper look into recruitment focuses, show you the importance of having them set up, showing you some recruitment focuses that I set up in every save and giving you some information around why they are important. But create focuses and put your own twist on them. As I said, you might be at a club that needs to sign, or one of the club objectives is to sign under 23 players. So have a tweak around everything I've just shown you there. I've shown you how to set up sort of base ones that I would always have set up. I've shown you how to do ones more specific into player roles, but have a mess around with it, fellas. Get in there, spend some time with your recruitment focuses. I can't emphasise how important they are in just building up a player pool for you, getting a bit of a picture of what you need, why you need them, and they just give you so much information and real specifics. As I said, you can get really detailed in the sorts of searches that you want. When you get further into saves, certainly trying to find those new gens, they get more important, I would say. And just get as many set up as you can. Depending on what club you're at, as I said, will allow you how many recruitment focuses you can have. But get as many recruitment focuses as you can set up. Be as specific as you want to be as broad as you can be. As I said, you really just want to get as many players into that pool as possible. Another little tip before we actually do wrap up is, I would say, get your shortlists created as well. Again, just give yourself a bit of an idea around certain areas. So get a shortlist set up for under 21 players. Get a shortlist set up for certain positions. Just get shortlists created and you can start to add players into shortlists, of course. And it's an easier way of tracking players. But this is all about identifying, tracking, and obviously where you need to, signing the best players that fit your club. I'm going to put a link in down below as well, chaps, to the Passion4FM blog post for this. A great read, and it's just going to reinforce everything I've spoken about in this video. Have a look at that. Once you've watched this video, once you've read the blog post, you are going to be an absolute master at your recruitment focuses and start to build winning squads in FM26. So, as I was saying, if you are new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. Please go and check out Passion4FM. And we'll see you on the next video.